Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Joao puts out a cover and realizes he forgot to film the mixing tutorial, so he does it after. But has such awesome patrons that he knows it's okay. Thank you guys so much for being awesome. And let's check out these tones in this cover of Resentment. Lots of new stuff happening today. Let us take a look. Turn off the master bus processing as usual. I will turn it on at the end, like I do when mixing. Drums. Excuse me. So here's a new drum sound I've been experimenting with. So the idea is blending the Bobershell Room sound with the Metal Foundry cymbals. So Superior Drummer 2 Metal Foundry cymbals, which I've always liked, and heavy Bobershell shells. Very cool. Let's see how we're going about this. The unaffected drum sound sounds something like this. We're gonna work it hard. Pretty drastic stuff, actually. Let's start with first things first, El Kiku drum. Close every effect. Very rich low end, but very flubby and not too pointy of a kick drum. Let's start fixing that. First thing on the kick drum, SSL channel strip. Just running through this gives the low end a different little shape and saturation, which is cool. But the main thing, of course, is the high end boosts right here. It's just a little 1 dB at 5K at and about 2 dB at 1.5. This gives it extra snap. Immediately hits a bit harder, and our first big shaping EQ with a nice dip at 180. So low mids, honky, and a 1.3K boost for more attack. Can you hear me turn on the compressor and get that snap and aggressiveness to the kick? So Pawn Shop compressor. The attack is 10 milliseconds, so just enough of a slow attack that a little bit of the blip of the attack of the kick gets through, and you can hear that in a fast release of 56 so that it immediately jumps back into normal volume. So this shapes the attack of the kick. But the biggest attack shaper is my favorite secret weapon on drums, the Trans X by Waves. So this is a transient designer. It's going to boost the attack information, but you can choose different frequencies and affect them differently in the attack. So the low end region, 80 and below, I am boosting 4 decibels. The mid-range region 1K to 4K, I am boosting 6. And the very high region above 4K, I am boosting only 4. Check this out. Way more attack, right? Into a limiter, which helps us make the kick very, very consistent. Almost, in fact, it kills some of the attack we gained here in exchange for fatness, but it kills some of the very subs in favor of some low mid oomph. We bring that back with our bass at 60 Hertz. Hopefully you could hear that as I push that. and a final shaping with Pro Q where I remove some more low mids and even lows that were very pokey. There was this very pokey frequency at 85 and some low mids that could be shaved at 147. Kick drum up under 33 is mainly going to be just inaudible stuff that destroys your subs anyways. Another high-end boost, and let's see where we came from. This is crazy. Don't be afraid to use a lot of plugins to get where you want to go. Same with snare. Ooh. You will see it's exactly the same plugins, just different settings. So the SSL on snare, firstly, is getting a lot more high-end in. So it's a shelf, everything above 1.5K is being boosted by about 4 dB. Immediately more snap. The FabFilter Pro Q is the first shaping tool. So the 60 Hertz boost is, there's nothing really there, but it's just trying to give more low-end harmonics that can help the snare fit a little bit closer to the kick. And this is a big mid cut when there's a lot of honkiness. Yeah, boom. As well as cutting some harshness at 3.2K and 5.3K that this snare had on the snare wires. Pawn shop compressor, why is it facing backwards? 15 millisecond attack, so a bit slower than the kick to get a little bit more attack out of it. And a fast release of 70, whatever. Ratio of 4:1. Can you hear it? Bring out the attack. Very, very cool compressor, this one. Transient Designer, let's go. So I'm only using the low and the high band. Beneath 160, 8 dB of attack boost and 7 above 2.5. And now it goes from poof to tup. There you go. I can say it better. And then, because I want the decay of the snare wires and of the skin vibrating, the limiter brings that up. Doesn't make a bad job of conserving some of the attack out, actually. I bring back whatever low-end fatness the limiter killed. At snare, I like R-bass at 100 Hz. Proper thick. And then final Pro Q3 shaping. Very, very little decisions that add up. 50 cut as their subs. 70 boost is that low. Trying to make it match the kick. Reducing the fundamental actually at 180. Because it was very very pokey. This little ring, 260. And scooping the snare a little bit, boosting more highs. And they match together. Tom processing was very lazy on this mix, because they only hit here in the breaks. And they're not meant to be very loud, they're just meant to be very roomy. I didn't even process the 2 toms that aren't hit. So first things first, on the bus, I did them a scoop and a high-end boost, because toms always need that, and compress them together so that I didn't have to go apply individual compressors. Aiming for about 3 decibels of gain reduction on a hard vibe compressor, so this gives it some fatness and shapes the attack as well. And individually on every tom, I want to boost the attack with the SSL. So 5 dB at about 3K. No, yeah. and cut some low mid resonances. I think I just copied and pasted it from tom to tom. That was toms, because I had the whole drum sound mix except the toms, and I did this tom thing in 1 minute. Loads of room for improvement there. Okay, so when we listen to the cymbals, you can see how hard I clamped down on those harsh whistles. First step there was a low cut, low pass. At 20,000, it just gets rid of the very, very high whistles. And then these small ones at very, very small ones around the 3K area are just whistles from this cymbal. Just trying to soften it up. The next tool in softening it up is Soothe. Very effective in isolating these very high 4K, 5K whistles. And Brainworks Refinement gets the 3K one. Just a way to make the cymbals way softer. So cymbal processing, overheads need compression. Hopefully you can hear them get that. They become a little bit more muffled, more energetic, which I like. And then you need to boost the high end, in the correct way. For me, the closest to the correct way is this Pultec at 10K. Very, very shiny and cutting all unnecessary low end. Rooms is where the drum sound is built. So one room I reserve for cymbals. Big cuts, so this is low cymbal resonances, 380. High cymbal resonances, 3.2. And then there's a further cut on the 380 region on the mid channel. So it's leaving some low end in the sides, but cutting this in the middle, including the snare. And a very bright boost on the sides now at 12K to make the cymbal room a bit wider. Fits very nicely with the overhead. Makes the cymbals live in a room. This room meant to be a distorted room for shelves. Very, very big mid-cut centered at around 200. Yeah, I didn't want no fundamental. Sounds good, but I want to focus on the mid-range. SSL is boosting highs, I guess, to make the room snappier. And then supercharger is a secret on this mix as well. The dirt thing on this guy is awesome. It's just vibey as hell. This free little compressor I got from Native Instruments, saving this mix. And you know my usual, a room reserved for the snare that you crush. You know the usual, pick your favorite compressor, slam the snare on that, and EQ to taste. Since you have only the snare, you get to boost the high end as much as you want so that it shines through, and we'll be having this drum sound by now. So now we need to glue this all in the drum bus. That is going to be through an instance of tape. So this tape saturation is just that, gluing everything together. Cymbals become a little bit less harsh. Shells become a little bit more soft. Everything, let's hear it. Separate. A little bit softer, more glued. Supercharger is my parallel compression. So we're at 20% wetness, and it's a very compressed sound. This is the full wet sound. And that's the blend. Makes it a little bit snappier. More 10K high boost on the Pultec, but it's not only affecting cymbals now, it's affecting the shells too, so they get brighter and punchier. And I'm shaping the low end by boosting 100 Hz and also cutting 100 Hz at the same time. It's a Pultec trick that gives a very focused low end boost. Final piece of the puzzle, the drum compressor, Kramer Pi. This is a new tool in my toolbox. There is no attack setting on it because it just has the correct attack setting for drums. Kick and snare very disjointed. Look when I turn it on. What a great drum compressor. So that is this new drum sound. There's room for a lot of improvement, but I'm enjoying it in this very much simpler and slower song. Okay, so simple ass bass tone, dead strings, and yes, these are dead strings. My bass retains a lot of clank, but it's still nothing compared to new strings. Joel Wanasek Boss Glue bass, go. Maximum low end compression, maximum top end compression, and distortion A. Big old EQ curve, because I know what I like and what I don't like about this distortion on this plugin. It's a lot of mid-range gunk and a little bit of low mid gunk as well. Big transformation. The most important one is the 500. Hear it here. Plugin has a lot of that, and also this 200 gross. That's the most important. This 1.4K is where I chose to boost to make the bass heard. That is it. Guitars have a compressor at the bus because I will be quad tracking a section, and when I quad track, I want the volume to not get over a certain limit. Oh yeah, secret is revealed. Little high-end boost at the end, nothing too special, 7K. Let's see what it is. So the main tone for choruses and verses, not verses, for choruses and re-intros is Tonehub Andrew Wade. $5150 blue channel mid gain. It sounds like that. Very, very cool sound, which I then EQ, scoop a little bit at 600, get rid of some annoying shit at 2.5, 3.5, and a high-end boost at 6K. Very aggressive. There's a dynamic EQ at 250. This is what takes care of the palm mutes in the breakdown when they become too boomy. It has this very, very ugly resonance. Very simple. The verse tone for the little scratchy guitar part that goes with the synths is this extra scratchy JCM 800 profile from the Dan Korneff Tone Hub. It is very, very nice and scratchy. I give it the same EQ as the other sound, but I don't have the dynamic thingy on. Yeah. Then what's cool is this is the verse tone and that's the chorus tone. Play them together in the breakdown. And you get a huge wall of sound. So that's one of the secrets for this cover, is that I blended both of the guitars, which is awesome. Let's see, what are these stupid leads? Here's a retarded DI. So, first things first, the strings are so dead, I saturated the mids from 1K to 4K. Give it some clink. Very dead strings on my 7 string. The 6 string was for style. I played it with a different guitar in the video just because. Yeah, this is the 7 string with Seymour Duncan Omegas. Into my favorite lo-fi weapon, the King's microphones. Keep this one a secret, guys. If you have a free plugin by Waves when you make an order, this guy instant lo-fi vibes, okay? Getting rid of excessive mids and using ping pong delay. So this lead is cool. Look at this automation, volume automation. It's just the same tone as the rhythms with that little beep 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 beep. And panning automation. Which you can do in Reaper by hitting P. If you hit P, you can automate the pans. Little lo-fi guitar slide with a pan slide as well. King's microphones again. No King's microphones. King's microphones. Shh, secret weapon. This last one is a cool effect. So the same volume envelope with square stutters. King's microphones. Shh. Getting rid of some harshness. Oh, and that's it. Insane. So most of the synths in this, all of the synths here are this Union plugin. That is a very, very cool little guy. I'll let you know the presets. So the main lead I used was the Filthy Mids one. Fucking very nice. Empty EQ, of course, why not? Delay. 2 second, 40% wet reverb. and an actual EQ. So cutting lows beneath 200, notching a resonance. Good to go. Very cool. So it's the filthy mids. Union bass was the Moogly bass, which goes something like this. Yeah. Again, Saturn to saturate the highs. Gives it that attack. EQ to cut the subs, because I don't want subs in this. That only when the bass hits in the chorus. Honky mids. High-end boost. What is this? Chorus lead is the twist lead. Sounds like that. Okay, so 260 cut, all stupid subs. Dynamic cut at 400 so that when I need it, fucking fly. Oh my god, when I need it, it's there. When I don't need it, honkiness goes away. And a very important cut at 900 because it's very fizzy. 9000. Reverb to make it fit. 4.5 seconds, 40% mix. Cool. Oh god, I need to go to bed. This is where you guys see my vulnerable side. So here's a feedback sample I've used. Didn't want to get feedback with my loudspeakers. Can't tell you where this is from. Amber, sorry, it's a secret. My hi-hat sample of the day being auto-panned by a free Reaper plugin called the Transient Driven Auto Pan. You just turn on this guy, and whenever it hears a transient, it's going to auto-pan your material, which is awesome to make the hi-hats bouncy. Today's explosion sample gets a big scoop. Very honky without it. Claps. Reverb them up. What is this? A little tambourine hit. Reverb it up. Simple post-production. And here I printed a drum part from the main plugin. Would sound like this, but I reverb it up. Very fast reverb and low mix. I control the mids and the bass because it needs to sound a bit lo-fi. I use the Creamer Pi again to make it pumpy. And that is the production on this cover. My really enjoyed it. Let's check out the master effects. They're the usual. Golfos is very soft today because this is an automatic EQ plugin that gives your mix a certain very aggressive, nice modern curve. Secret Weapon as well. It was very aggressive on these verses. It tried to boost a lot of highs, so I'm trying to keep it tame. Alright? But during the full band parts, you can see it balance my bass automatically and give it the nice high-end sheen. Mix compressor is here to glue the kick and snare down with the rest of the mix. Or rather, bring everything else up to match their level, which is cool, as well as add some low mids, very soft, saturated low mids with the Iron Transformer. Linear multiband is a compressor that tries to give me a certain frequency balance. If you would like maybe a little bit more of a scooped mix, because it affects the mids more than it affects the lows and the highs. Has a very defined sound, as you can hear. Tape to glue everything back together. I like the B tape here. B tape gives you very, very much thick lows. It almost distorts the kick, but the color amount is at 0, so it's just turning it on. Can we hear it? It's like turning the bass up for free without getting more distortion. Magic tool. Limiter is Ozone. You know how I like it, very fast on the limiter so that it chops off the kick and snare nice and evenly. Everything else goes back up. And then instead of digging in further with this limiter, I like to use a different one, in this case FabFilter Pro L, to dig into the guitar level. I can't turn it on because it's going to crap out. My computer can't handle it and recording the tutorial. But you can see it there, just hitting the kick and snare further. There you go, guys. This is the mixing tutorial for today. Thank you so much for supporting and watching. Take care.